Here's another one that, in the betting industry, I don't even know if we notice these because they're so common, but I'm sure I know for a fact that, people newer to the game kind of feel inundated with these. And I'm talking about sportsbook cash out offers and make a pick and then it's not even decided yet, or you have a bunch of bets, and they're all these little different cash out amounts, and they're kind of just based on the current, I guess, value. You could say, I know you've done some work in the Action app, Sean, kind of calculating real live odds. So essentially, these cash out offers are based on real live odds. Should people be taking them, or are those kind of overvalued in your experience, kind of like parlays?
Yeah, I mean, this is something it's going to be up to the individual when it comes to risk management and whether you want to cash out or not. I think it's a case-by-case basis. But I think when it comes to the cash out price, it's critical to assess, what's the current fair price? What should it be to cash out the bet? I think you'll often find sportsbooks are cutting off even more than you should get if you were to simply hedge your bet and just bet the opposite side for it to lose. So I think you always want to check if it's available to see how much you would cash out by simply hedging the natural way of just betting against your current bet. You might find, you're getting more value by doing that. But you really want to just assess what the proper cash out should be before you even make that decision. I think right now you have that, the guy that bet $13, that parlay with all the championships, where the payout's over $200,000 if the Thunder and the Oilers both win their respective championships right now, and the cash out option was like over $100,000, and people are saying he should absolutely cash out. I'm saying it's up to him, but you have to think of it as he's essentially betting $100,000 to win $200,000 right now. So if he still feels like he has an edge where the Oilers and Thunder are still undervalued, and he wants to take on that risk, he could do it. That's more of a personal decision. If $100,000 is life-changing for you, then by all means you can cash out, as opposed to waiting to see if it turns into $200,000. So that's why I say it's a personal choice, what you're trying to accomplish. But when it comes to the odds, like I said, you're going to have to calculate how much you think it should be worth, and I think you'll find books are cutting off more than just letting it ride more times than not. So in my case, I'm typically just letting it ride. There's very few situations where I would honestly cash out. I think one random example I could think of is, I go into a game, let's say I bet on a baseball team because I like the starting pitcher. And in the second inning, there's a shit ton of rain. There's going to be like an over hour-long delay. My pitcher is going to be gone. I might decide at that point, I want to cash out because my perceived edge is gone and I'm just trying to get out of the bet. But there's very few cases where I think I personally would do that. So again, this is something that it's up to the individual on just the risk that you want to take on. If you're able to cash out, have a considerable profit, it's really up to you if you want to make that call or not.
Yeah, for me, it's just like a hard no. I feel like we're not sponsored by anyone in this episode, right? Like, no sportsbook. So yeah, I'm just gonna say no. Yeah. I feel like all these are marketing opportunities, and for the sportsbook, or just kind of opportunities to take advantage of the fact that the average person doesn't know how to calculate that hedge opportunity, and really, that's all it is. It's like you said. For example, I just did a bunch of Action Network podcasts with Stuckey, and I talked about how I want multiple Super Bowl tickets, in each conference. Like I want the Bills and the Ravens and the Chiefs in the AFC, and I want the Rams and the Niners. And it's like, well, why would you bet only one team could win the Super Bowls? Because you want that ticket. So when you get to the second round of the playoffs, or you get to the NFC Championship, and one of your teams or multiple teams that you have tickets for are in there, now you can really start hedging and just picking, the team that you don't have to win or lose, or doing it evenly with the amount of that you have risks in the first place. So that's kind of the goal with these things. So a lot of times, if you're just looking at what the book is offering, they know what that goal is too, and they know the price of simply hedging it, and they're probably going to charge you just like a normal VIG premium or something, like another 10% over the 10 or 15% that you already paid for that future or that bet or whatever it was. So it would almost be a hard no for me, but I'd say if you're in position to do it, you need to calculate what, like Sean said, just what would be the price if I just bet the opposite thing and kind of hedge it that way. And we have a hedging calculator at actionnetwork.com and for use in the Action app, where you can put in as many bets as you want, the odds, the amount of units you put down, and it can kind of calculate the optimal percentage. So that's another, it's not quite the Kelly criterion, but it's another one of those kind of formulaic things that you can use to arrive at the answer to these questions. But generally, no, don't take the cash out offer. They know better. Come on. They say Vegas always knows, and that's one thing we should say. Like, they say Vegas always knows. No, it doesn't. Vegas is like, Sean, how many times have you and I just looked at lines and like, what is Vegas thinking? And we were right. It's Vegas doesn't always know, but Vegas does always know the people that are gonna like try to take shortcuts with the parlays and the cash outs. That's what Vegas knows. So that's what you need to be careful of. You don't need to think these games are rigged. Like, just because SGA can bait Aaron Nesmith into fouls over and over doesn't mean the game is rigged. It just means Aaron Nesmith maybe is not like your ideal starting three in an NBA Finals team. That's what that means. So well said. Like, you got to kind of